You're listening to the School Leadership Reimagined podcast, episode 174. How do builders like us make a dramatic difference in the lives of our students in spite of all the obstacles we face? How do you keep your vision for your school from being held hostage by resistant teachers, uncooperative parents, ridiculous district policies, or a lack of time, money, or resources? If you're facing those challenges right now, here's where you'll find the answers, strategies, and actionable tips you need to overcome any obstacle you face. You don't have to wait to make a difference in the lives of the people you serve. You can turn your school into a success story right now with the people and resources you already have. Let's get started. Hey builders, welcome to another episode of the School Leadership Reimagined podcast. I'm your host, Robyn Jackson, and today we're going to talk about the idea that you're only as good as your tribe. I know you've heard the phrase before, you are the sum total of the 5 people you hang around the most. And while I'm not sure that's entirely true, there is some truth to that because you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with, the people you listen to, the people who you've allowed to have influence on your life. If you have a tribe that's negative, you're going to be negative. If you have a tribe that's pushing you forward, you're going to advance. So you're only as good as your tribe. And we're going to talk about today why it's important for you to intentionally curate your tribe. Now, before we do that, 2 big announcements. First one, tickets today are available for our next Builders Lab, where our next Builders Lab is happening at the end of January. It's going to be another virtual event, so you don't have to get on a plane, you don't have to worry about snow. It's 3 days of just goodness. I'm biased about Builders Lab, right? And every time we do it, it just gets better and better and better. I love Builders Lab. And we work really hard to make sure that it is a 360-degree experience for you. So you're going to get a lot of content. Builders Lab is the only place you can go right now if you want to learn how to microslice a classroom. And that's our patented technique for showing you how to get into classrooms, be in the classroom for only 5 to 7 minutes, and get to the root cause of a teacher's practice. Builders Lab is the place where you can go to find out how to give teachers feedback that they will welcome and that they will actually implement. Builders Lab is the place you should go if you want to learn how to build your vision and mission and core values. We give you all of that support, and you leave Builders Lab with clarity around your own vision. And Builders Lab is a place to go to if you've been thinking for a while, listen, I want to learn how to be a builder. I want to get immersed in what this buildership model is all about. I want to see what the buildership model can do for me. Builders Lab is a place you can go for all of that. It is a 3-day intensive where you just dive into the deep end and you learn about what it takes to install buildership into your own practice. Now, Builders Lab is amazing and incredible. And when you come to Builders Lab, not only do you get all of that learning, but we have a lot of fun too. Our DJ is incredible. Yes, we have a DJ, and you get a box in the mail with all kinds of surprises. It's a huge box. When I tell people that, you're going to get a box, people think, oh, it's going to be like a shoe box. Nope. It is huge. It's a huge box because there are all these things inside and surprises for you. We have people who come to Builders Lab just about every year, and they say it's now a tradition in my house when I get that Builders box and outside it's got Buildership, Builders Lab, all over it. And my kids get so excited. They can't wait to open the box. It's that kind of fun. We do everything we can to make sure that not only are you learning things that you can immediately apply to your school, but that you experience a shift in mindset that helps you approach your work differently, that makes the ideas around buildership real for you. You come away different. And then we also want to have a good time too. We love to spoil our builders. And so our team, we sit around and just, okay, what else can we do to spoil them? It's almost too much, almost. And it's incredible. So Builders Lab, tickets open today. And so you need to get your tickets. We've sold out the last few times. And so you want to make sure you get your ticket early so that you can be at our next Builders Lab at the end of January. The other cool thing that's happening right now is Buildership University. So people ask me all the time, okay, so should I go to Builders Lab or Buildership University? It's not or. You should come to both. But let me tell you about the difference. Builders Lab is where you take a deep dive in. It's an experience. It's a mind shift thing. It's a shot in the arm. It's a way to kind of re-energize yourself for the remainder of the school year. And it's a 3-day intense experience where you walk away with things you can immediately use right away to get your school in focus, to get your vision going. It's a good starting point. Buildership University is about implementation. So Buildership University is a mentorship. Builders Lab is an experience. Buildership University is a mentorship. When you join Buildership University, you get mentored by me. And I help you step by step through the process of implementing the entire buildership model in your school. What's nice about Buildership University is that if you really get excited about being a builder and you're not sure where to start, Buildership University is a great place for you to, when you're ready to work, come to Buildership University, and I take you step by step. You don't have to worry about that anymore. You don't have to figure it out on your own. We have figured out the right steps to take in the right order. So once you go to Buildership University, you can just relax, and we will take you every single week. You get, okay, this is the next thing you need to focus on, and the next thing. And not only that, but we also give you feedback throughout. So as you're doing this stuff, putting your feedback system in place, putting your accountability systems in place, and you're designing those things, then we have checkpoints where you send us what you're working on so far. We give you real-time feedback. Okay, this part works here. This part you can tweak. Here's a suggestion. Here's a tool. So that you know that you're doing it right. You don't have to guess. And not only that, we have the best community, and I think of all education, because you're surrounded by other builders and you get the support and the feedback that you need to keep going. And you don't, a lot of times when you're a builder and you're by yourself, you can feel like, you're the only one. No, there are hundreds of builders who are doing this work, and you get to be around those people, and they cheer for you and they support you, and you can be vulnerable there. And, we've had some really incredible experiences where people have been at the end of the ropes, and they've come to office hours and they've talked about it, and they've gotten what they needed to not only get up the next day and keep going, but to turn that really tough situation into something that becomes an opportunity for something better. That's what you get at Buildership University. It's ongoing support. So Builders Lab is great if you want that experience that gets you excited again, that gets you re-energized again. People come to Builders Lab and say, I was just about to quit my job, but now I'm excited to get back into the building and do that work again. That's Builders Lab. Buildership University is where you do the work. That's a mentorship. And you will, once you join Buildership University, we take you step by step through the process. Every week, you're upgrading your work. Every week, you're up-leveling your buildership. You're becoming a better builder. And you're part of a group of people who are committed to the same thing that you're committed to, and believe in that 100% vision the way you believe in yours. It's I love Buildership University. I don't want to do anything else. I just got a call today, someone saying, hey, we want you to come and speak. And I was like, no, I'm good, because I just want to hang out with the people in Buildership University. I just want to support those principles. That's where my focus is these days. And so if you want that mentoring, and if you want that support, and if you want that community, if you're really ready to do this, Buildership University is the right thing for you. So both of those are opening up. If you'd like to attend Builders Lab, go to mindstepsinc.com/builders-lab. That's mindstepsinc.com/builders-lab. And if you're ready to join Buildership University, the next cohort opens at the end of this month, and you can go to buildershipuniversity.com and get on the wait list and join the next cohort when it opens up. All right, let's talk about this thing, because, I almost entitled this episode, Who's in Your Corner? because the work that we do in schools every single week is not only tough, most people don't get it. I remember when I was still in the school system and I would come home from work and my friends would be talking about their jobs. And our job is just so different. It was hard to explain to them, why I spent part of the day getting gum out of a kid's hair when they spent part of the day, tightening up a spreadsheet and why I spent part of the day investigating, who left, something unseemly in the restroom while they spent part of their day, building a beautiful presentation to present to a board or, saving lives in the hospital or flying aircraft or doing those other things. It's just different. And people who are not educators don't get what your day is like, why you come home so exhausted, why you don't want to make another decision at the end of the day because you've made 2,568 decisions throughout the day. Why you're so tired. They think partly what we do all day is hang out with kids and play with kids on the playground. And, that's part of it. But there's so much more to the work and they don't get it. And so I remember having a group of friends that I would get together with on a regular basis just so that we could talk about our jobs. And this group of women that I gathered with monthly are a large reason why I was able to be successful in my role in the school, because I had a group of women who not only were there to commiserate with me, but they were also there to encourage me. When I had a tough time, they were there to kind of talk through and think things through. I could pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, I'm having this situation with a teacher. Have you had a situation like that? They could tell me how to handle it. That could pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, do you have a resource that will do X, Y, and Z? And they could shoot it over to me. That group of women really sustained me in my role and helped me stay sane. I find that even out of the school system, the work that I do in education is still so critically important. The work that I do as an author, the work that I do as a consultant, what's still so critically important about that work is the tribe. When I even now hit a roadblock or, get tired of the travel, there are people who can commiserate with me. People think that, when I'm traveling to do speeches or workshops, oh, you live such a glamorous life. That hardly. And so being able to pick up the phone and call some of my colleagues who are road warriors like I am and tell the stories about the canceled flights or the crazy hotel rooms or getting lost in some random town or the weird things that clients ask you to do or the weird situations that happen on the road. If I didn't have that tribe, then I don't know that I could keep my sanity. The same thing is probably true for you. You have your friends. You have people that you talk to at the end of the day. I remember when I was even a teacher that I had teacher colleagues whose classrooms I'd go sit in at the end of the day and just kind of, and they could hear in my voice the frustration and they understood what it meant. And I remember that there were several types of people that I could go to. I could go to the people, and I knew that when I went in, they were going to complain about the kids and trash the parents. And if I stayed around that long enough, I'd find myself doing the same thing. And then there were the people who were always pushing their craft. I remember walking into the classroom next to me. There was a teacher there who was older than I am. His name was Tom. And Tom would... we talk about our days, we talk about our students, and he would help me. I remember when I had a ridiculous discipline policy, it was Tom that helped me see that policy wasn't serving me or serving my kids. When I first started teaching, it was Tom that told me I needed to contribute to my retirement account more aggressively than what I was doing, and that I'd thank him later. Thank you, Tom. I remember Cynthia, and I walked to her classroom, and Cynthia is the one that showed me that the kids, that you really needed to understand the currencies that they bring to the classroom, because not all kids are the same. And she demonstrated that in her work. And that became one of the 7 principles of effective instruction. Cynthia was the person who modeled that for me. And so all of us can probably think about the people who stepped into our lives at some point in our careers, and because of their influence, we became better educators. The problem is we usually leave that to chance. We make it random. If Tom's classroom wasn't next door to me, would I have sought him out? If Cynthia hadn't come and grabbed me and said, "Hey, you need to come and we need to be friends," would I have intentionally sought her out, even though she was one of the best teachers in the building? So we have to be intentional. And a lot of times we aren't. We don't curate our tribe. We hang out with the people we're around. And here's the danger with that. If you happen to be around people who don't believe that 100% of our students can be successful, then even if you believe it, that belief gets challenged in every conversation. And you start to feel a little foolish for believing that, especially when you hit a roadblock that threatens, the whole idea and the whole concept. It's a lot easier to let that roadblock stop you if you're around people who never believed that 100% was possible in the first place. Think about it. You believe in 100%. You run into a student who is really challenging, and you go to the people who don't believe in 100%. They're going to tell you, well, you can't save them all. The best you can do is your best. And that's all you can do. And so don't beat yourself up about it. Maybe this kid will get it somewhere else. And that's their advice to you. And so it can weaken your resolve to really do things to build 100%. If you truly believe that the work you do with teachers is not about a gotcha kind of feedback system, that you really are helping every teacher grow one level in one domain in 1 year or less, but you have colleagues and friends, work friends who don't believe that every teacher can grow one level in one domain in 1 year or less, they're going to tell you, stop wasting your time. When you have a frustrating day with a teacher, they're going to give you advice about how to get rid of that teacher instead of how to help that teacher grow. If you truly believe as a builder that everything must be sifted through your vision and mission and core values, the next time the district sends you something and demands something of you that isn't in alignment with your vision, mission, and core values, when you go to your friends to commiserate, they're going to tell you, just do it. It doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt anything. Do what you need to do. Get the district off your back and keep on moving. Why does everything have to be about your vision anyway? You can't do that in your school. Do you see the point? It's that if you believe the things that we talk about here, if you are a builder with that belief system, then you're going to have to be a lot more careful about the people you spend your time with, that you commiserate with, because if they don't believe in buildership too, the advice they give you is going to contradict what you believe and start eroding at your belief system until over time you can be dragged back into leadership, or worse, you can be dragged back into being a boss. When you become a builder, you have to upgrade your tribe. Now, this is not to cast aspersions on the people you've been hanging around with. Maybe they're great friends. Maybe they're great sense of humor. Maybe they have great jokes, and you can be friends with those people. But you shouldn't trust everybody with your challenges, because not everybody's advice is going to be the right advice for you. And that's a hard line to draw sometimes. You're used to talking to your friends about your day. You're used to just kind of, everybody else is telling about their days. But when you become a builder, if other people are not builders, then the solutions they're going to give you are leadership solutions. And they're not going to be useful to you because you're a builder. Not only that, their perspective on your problems that perspective is going to be a leadership perspective. That's no longer useful to you as a builder. And so one of the things that you have to think about as you start this buildership journey, or as you continue this buildership journey, is you got to think about who's in your corner. And are they giving you advice and support that actually helps you become a better builder? Or are they giving you advice and support that's slowly pulling and tugging and dragging at you back to leadership. Again, it's not that they're bad people. It's not that you have to cut them off. I can't listen to you, because I'm not a leader anymore and you're giving me bad advice. It's no. That's not what we're saying at all. What we are saying is that when you have a true challenge or problem and you're trying to solve that problem like a builder, the people you need to ask advice of need to be other builders. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to help you. They're going to give you the best advice they have, but their advice is coming from a leadership or worse, a bossship perspective. It's a hard thing sometimes when you really think about it, because maybe you're used to, you have a work wife or a work husband or work friends, and you're used to hanging out with them and talking to them about certain things. But once you become a builder, there's some problems that you can only work out with other builders. I remember when it first happened to me, I used to hang out with a group of teachers. I was still a teacher at the time when I first started thinking about being a builder. Even though I didn't have the words for buildership yet, I was thinking about that 100% success. And I was hanging out with some teachers. We were having lunch together and talking, and we were doing the thing that teachers do. We were talking about our kids, stupid things that happened at school that day, sometimes our lives, but really hanging out and hanging out with other teachers who really got what we were trying to do. And I said for the first time, I really want none of my kids to fail. And a couple of people in the room, who were part of the conversation, heard me say that, and they looked at me, and you could tell they felt so sorry for me, because they said, I remember being that naive once, but don't beat yourself up, honey. There are going to be kids who fail, and you can do your best, and you're still going to have students who fail. And you shouldn't hold yourself to that unreasonable standard. They loved me. They cared about me. But that was the absolutely worst advice they could give me, because it wasn't true. Maybe it was true for them, but it wasn't true for me. I got to the point where I had no students failing. And I realized that the closer I got to it, the less I was able to talk about it, because people were going to tell me what they knew. And what they knew and had always known was that there are always going to be some kids who fail. And I had to protect that vision in its infancy, because people were unintentionally strangling that vision in my supposed best interest. They were trying to protect me from being disappointed in the ways that they had been disappointed themselves. They weren't encouraging me to actually find a way to make that happen, because they no longer believed it could happen. And so I had to stop speaking my vision to everybody, because not everybody's going to get your vision. Not everybody's going to believe in your vision. And I had to find some people who did believe in that vision, who did think it's possible, even if they didn't know how. And those were the people I could begin to share my vision with. And those are the people that helped me stay sane while I was trying to pursue it. And those are the people who helped me realize I wasn't crazy. I was onto something, that it was possible. Now, once it happened, then all of a sudden people changed their tune, because now they have a new reality. They've seen it happen in my classroom. And still there were some people like, well, that's you, Robyn. That won't happen in my classroom. Or that was an anomaly for 1 year. Or I'm not going to work that hard, so that's probably never going to happen for me. Or whatever it was, and started to make excuses. And then the more I heard those excuses, the more I realized that there were some people who were never going to believe in that vision, even when it was right in front of them. So I don't need to spend time talking about my vision to those people. Now I can talk about what the television show of the moment with them. I could talk about what was happening in the news with them, but those were not people around whom my vision was safe. And so I had to protect my vision, and I shared with them. When I became an assistant principal, same thing. I was doing some things as assistant principal. And the thing about being an assistant principal is that a lot of people who are also APs see you as competition, because, if you're an aspiring principal, they're an aspiring principal too. You probably will interview for the same job at some point. And in that situation, it was a different level of protection for my vision. When I started talking about like what I believed for teachers, again, there were people who didn't have the same vision for me that any teacher could become a master teacher with the right kind of support and practice. And they thought I was wasting my time trying to help teachers get there. They were more interested in telling me techniques and strategies for getting rid of teachers. And if I wasn't careful, I could quickly get sucked into that vortex of belief that not all teachers are meant to be there and that my job was getting rid of teachers rather than my job being to make teachers better. And so once again, I couldn't talk to everybody about my vision because not everybody got it. And they thought their job was to try to pull me back into their reality rather than encourage me forward in the vision that I was seeking for my practice and for the teachers I served. The same thing is true for you. By now, many of you have worked hard on 100% vision. And you barely believe it yourself, right? Like it's still new for you to think 100% of my kids could be successful. You're still trying to figure that out, still trying to understand what that means. And so you've got to be careful about the people you share that vision with. Because not everybody gets what it means to be a builder. Not everybody believes that 100% of our students can and deserve to be successful in school. You do now, but that belief is new, and it comes after years of being told something else. And so because not everybody gets your vision, because not everybody supports your vision, they will believe it is their job to tell you why your vision won't work. And part of it is some people are trying to protect you, but part of it is some people are trying to protect themselves. You see, when you stand there with that 100% vision, you indict their lack of belief. I mean, we all say we want all kids to learn. People, it's all about the kids. But when you go out on a limb and say 100% for every child will be successful, it challenges them. And so they have motivation to try to kill your vision because killing your vision is easier than up-leveling their vision. When they can kill your vision and then go back to feeling comfortable. They can't support your vision and stay where they are. Which is why the more you become a builder, the more important it is for you to seek out other builders. Because your vision isn't safe with a leader. I was having a conversation earlier today with someone who said they believed in buildership. They loved the idea. But the more we talked, the more I started thinking, Because when I would talk about buildership and what a builder does, they would take that idea and try to smush it back into their leadership paradigm. I talked about, how important it was to help teachers grow at least one level in one domain in 1 year or less. And they started talking to me about a coaching paradigm that wasn't designed to do that and saying, oh, it's just like this. And I kept saying, no, it's not like that at all. It's something very different. They didn't want to hear it. What they were trying to do was take buildership and pick and choose the pieces that made them feel comfortable with what they were already doing and tried to take buildership and make it a glossier version of leadership. And I realized this conversation is not going to be safe in a moment because their intention is not to understand buildership. Their intention is to use the pieces of buildership that appeal to them to help them stay doing the same thing they've always been doing. At that point, once I realized that, I said, talking to them about my vision for the builders I serve isn't safe. It's not my people. You're going to have to do the same thing. Inside of Buildership University, we have a joke. We always say, we're a bunch of weirdos. And we don't mean that we're weird, right? You don't go to Buildership University and feel uncomfortable. These people are kind of, one of my kids was saying recently, he was talking about, how some people are just cringy. That Buildership University isn't that. When we say we're weirdos, we're not talking about weirdos in a cringy way. Here's what we mean by that. Other people are going to start to think that you're weird. Because while they are finding ways to be more comfortable with and justify their own mediocrity, you are intentionally making yourself uncomfortable. Do you know how uncomfortable it is to say 100% of students will? Do you know what that does? How that puts you on the line? Why would anybody intentionally do that? That makes you weird. You're different from other people. And because you're different, people who see your difference become uncomfortable with your difference, and they won't support it. They're going to try to turn you into something that makes them feel comfortable staying where they are. And if it means calling you a weirdo, they're willing to do it, because if what you do is normal, then they're the weirdo and they don't want to be the weirdo. So it's you. And so you got to be careful about sharing your vision, especially in its infancy. You need to make sure that the people you share your vision with are safe. And the only safe people, unfortunately, are builders. And I say unfortunately because I wish everybody believed it, but they don't. They don't believe in 100%. So you got to find people who do believe in it, or else you're going to start feeling like the weirdo. When you start feeling like the weirdo, when you start feeling like maybe it isn't true, when their doubt starts to infect your vision, you give up on your vision. But if you're around other builders, you're not the weirdo, because everybody is working on the vision the same way. When you do things differently than other people, and you get around other builders who are also doing things differently than other people, it starts to feel normal. And when you see that they're having success in their work, then you realize, hey, maybe this is going to work for me too. When you bring your challenges to other builders, they don't give you advice that drags you back into leadership. They give you advice that helps you become a better builder, so that you can turn even your worst day into some of your best opportunities to not only get better yourself, but to make your school better. When you share your dreams and the work you're doing with other builders, they don't laugh at it or scoff at it. They get it because they're doing it too. When you share your successes with other builders, they're not threatened by your success. They don't see you as competition. They're celebrating your success, and they're inspired by your success. When you get vulnerable with other builders, they don't use your vulnerability against you. They don't look at you differently. They don't start to question you, because they're feeling those same vulnerabilities themselves. Instead, they encourage you. They support you because they get you. A lot of you are out there right now listening to this podcast and trying to be a builder, but you're the only one. And that's tough, because you're starting out, you're doing something different. And I bet right now there are people who are telling you that you can't do it can't be done, or you shouldn't do it, or it's a waste of time, or, oh, that's just like that other thing, or they're bringing negativity into the space where you are trying to build something better. But the problem is there's nobody else. You don't have anybody else to talk to. So you listen to this podcast every week and get some encouragement there. And I'm glad. I want you to do that. But sometimes it doesn't feel like it's enough. I want you to know there are a group of builders out there. And we get together every single week. We support each other. We share ideas. We reassure each other that we're not crazy. We celebrate each other. Sometimes we have to pick each other up off the floor and infuse strength into each other so we can go back and start building again. It's a safe place where you can be a builder and everybody gets you. Everybody understands what that means. If you haven't guessed by now, I'm talking about Buildership University. And one of the things that Buildership University, I didn't realize it was going to become, I thought it was going to be a place for, us to create the training and the support and the feedback and the network around becoming a builder. I thought the content was going to be its biggest strength. The content's very good, trust me. But what I'm starting to realize more and more is that as good as the content is, the community's better. And I'll tell you why I'm even doing this podcast and why this is important. This isn't a big Buildership University commercial, but something happened last week that reinforced this idea again. I was having a really tough week. And the reason that I was having such a tough week is because some things happened that made me start questioning whether or not this whole buildership thing was a fool's errand. I just got over and over and over just people telling me that 100% is not realistic, that I'm doing more harm than good. I've put myself out there to say that I want to help every builder that I serve achieve their vision for 100% of their students in 3 years or less. And there were people who were challenging that because that's the vision for Buildership University, but I'm not there yet. Some have, some haven't. And I'm always trying to figure out, okay, so what do we need to do next to get more and more of the builders who are in Buildership University to that level of success? And anyway, I had a really tough day. And I'd had a couple of conversations earlier that day where people were really casting doubt on that vision. And I started to feel like maybe, I had made a mistake in having that vision for what I wanted to do. And I came to office hours in Buildership University. Now, I'm supposed to be there to help other people. So I had to, get myself together, get my energy up so that I could be there for the people in office hours. And office hours are, we once a week or so, we gather together. And during office hours or study hall, every week it's one or the other. People can come, it's optional, but you can come, and during office hours, you can bring whatever challenges you're facing. What I'm finding is a lot more people are not coming with a challenge for office hours. They're just coming to be around other builders, so just to get their buildership cup refilled before they go back into the world and continue to pursue their visions. And so as we started talking in office hours, someone came in and had a win to share, and that started making me feel excited again. And, somebody else was talking about another win that they had that week, and that started making me feel better. And then someone else came in with a challenge that they were facing, and the other builders jumped in to kind of support the person with the challenge. And about 15 minutes into office hours, I realized the reason that I was feeling so deflated was that the people that I was talking to weren't builders. And what was remarkable is that the more time I spent around other builders, the more sure I became in this work. I realized that my problem wasn't me. My problem was that not everybody can be trusted with my vision. And so if you're feeling deflated this week, if you're feeling like nobody gets you, if you're feeling like maybe this 100% vision isn't working out, if you're frustrated because you're trying to do this work and you're getting pushback on every turn, people don't get you. They don't get what you're trying to do. I want you to know it's not you. You're not doing anything wrong, except you're trusting your vision with the wrong people. Find you some other builders, because there, among other builders, is the only place that is safe for your vision. Find you some other builders, because it's only among other builders that your vision has an opportunity to grow and thrive so that it can stand on its own. Not everybody can be trusted with your vision. And so what you need to do is find yourself some other builders and stop trusting your vision with people who don't and won't get it. And that's how you can stay sane and continue in this work like a builder. Now, I'll remind you again, if you don't have other builders around, but you want to be a part of that group of builders, the place to come is Buildership University, and we're opening up the next cohort now. And we would love to have you. And know that when you join us, you're joining a tribe of people who are doing the same thing that you're doing. They're trying to do the same thing you're doing. And I am committed, even more so, to helping you do it. I believe that your vision is not only possible, but it's necessary. And I believe you can achieve it in the next 3 years. And so if you want to be a part of a group of people who believe in the same thing you believe in, a group of people who are safe to trust your vision, Buildership University is the place for you. And we'd love to have you. That's it for this week. I'll talk to you soon. Hey, if you're ready to get started being a builder right away, then I want to invite you to join us at Buildership University. It's our exclusive online community for builders just like you, where you'll be able to get the exact training that you need to turn your school into a success story right now with the people and resources you already have. Inside, you'll find our best online courses, live trainings with me, tons of resources, templates, and exemplars, and monthly live office hours with me, where you can ask me anything and get my help on whatever challenge you're facing right now. If you're tired of hitting obstacle after obstacle and you're sick of tiny little incremental gains each year, if you're ready to make a dramatic difference in your school right now, then you need to join Buildership University. Just go to buildershipuniversity.com and get started writing your school success story today.